I'm Stacey Salyer, property management strategist, working on future-proofing your property management company. Today with me, I have Mark and Keri Sarojak. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Good stuff.
Yay. Well, I get my last name butchered all the time too. It's Salyer, but I've been called Slayer many times over. And now a lot of my friends actually call me the Slayer.
Great nickname.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I would love to know a little bit about you and what you're doing. I met you at the Portland Northwest NARP conference this year. Was that in April?
No, I think CalNARPM was in April. Wasn't Northwest in May?
Seems like a long time ago now. We're good friends. I was wandering through the vendor area and I came upon your booth and I found it very fascinating. So I thought it'd be fun to have you come on. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, sounds great. I appreciate you having us on. It's wonderful to be here. And you're right, time has flown by since. I remember CalNARPM vividly because that's when we launched FlyBy. It was our official launch. Northwest NARP followed up on that. I'm Mark Sarojak. I've got a long history in the geospatial industry, making applications for deep geospatial analysis of imagery. There's a really deep science to it about being able to understand imagery and make measurements from it and apply it correctly. And that's my background and how I came to where we are.
I'm Keri Sarojak, and I have a background in real estate. And Mark and I have kind of gotten peanut butter and chocolate together and made FlyBy.
I love that. That's the second reference to peanut butter and chocolate today. I happened to be on an earlier podcasting that I was listening to, and the woman referenced that. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, I think that must be dessert tonight. Then.
Yeah, sounds great to me.
Must be. The universe is saying it's a peanut butter and chocolate.
Sure.
So yeah, as far as the tactical stuff, Mark, that you were talking about, probably, well, I have no idea even what you were saying at that point in time, but I do know real estate. I thought your product was really cool because we got a chance to talk a little bit there in Portland. And being in property management for over 20 years, part of our shtick as far as signing up new clients was like, oh yeah, we'll drive by your property and we'll check it out. But any busy property manager knows that you can make those promises when you're really small. I mean, if you're managing 20 doors, yeah, that's super easy. But when you start managing quite a few more, and then you're expanding your area. My area back in the day, we managed in 4 different counties because we were more of a rural market. Some of our properties were an hour plus away. So driving by didn't always make it super easy, but we had every intention to do that. Tell us a little bit more about your product and how it can save face for property managers and also save time and money.
Absolutely. I guess I would describe it like this, Stacey. FlyBy was born out of necessity, actually. We didn't even know it was going to be a commercial product. We kind of created it and started using it for our own purposes. This is a property we've owned in San Diego since 2009. We moved away to the northern Nevada area about 3 years ago, and we put our property with a professional property manager. As you can see from the imagery on the right, what was a golf course in the backyard had been purchased and had gone defunct. They started building houses and we got lucky. Our fairway became a flower growing operation associated with a new community rather than houses. We wanted to keep track of what was going on with the golf course. I used my background in geospatial and I got access to imagery, not satellite imagery. It's lower resolution. I wanted some high detail imagery. So I pulled aerial imagery, aerial photography, and we could see and track and monitor what was happening with the golf course over time. This is a 10-hour drive for us or a several $100 airplane flight for and a day or a hotel night or two. So instead of all of that travel time and money, we were using the imagery to monitor remotely the golf course. We showed it to our property manager and he said, because we were talking about the golf course, and he said, wow, I absolutely love this. I could use this to help me eliminate the need to drive by all the properties in my portfolio. And that's when he shared with us all the challenges that a property manager has and how this could help alleviate a lot of that time and expense from an operational standpoint and give him more client-facing time. So that's kind of how this came about.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that rings true. In fact, I think the reminder email I sent out today was, hey, you may be driving by some of your properties. You can still listen. Make sure your hands free though. Do not fiddling with your buttons while you're driving. But yeah, when I had my property management company, we managed over 500 doors. There is no way you're going to drive by 500 doors once a quarter. That's just not physically possible unless you have full-time staff driving by. And then as a business owner, you're looking at the expense of gas and payroll, especially I'm on the West Coast. So gas and payroll are extremely expensive, right? I mean,
IRS reimbursement mileage costs go up every year. It's expensive.
If you start doing the math, even if you run a business in a more business friendly state, the payroll, gas, wear and tear, and IRS reimbursement. So it seems to be, makes a lot of sense to
show the slide of the time thing. We actually created like a calculator that helps people determine exactly how much time and money they can save. We don't have it online right now, but if you're interested, you could always reach out to us and we can help you through this process. A lot of property managers we talk to don't even have an idea of how much money they're spending doing this either, which is fascinating.
Yeah, so one of the things we do, we consult with clients like on a one-by-one basis. We can give them a demonstration and talk to them about how many properties they have, and we can start to do some of the estimates that fill into the calculator.
Okay, very cool. So if you had about 200 properties, now I don't have my reading glasses on, is it based on one drive-by a year or so?
No, in the calculation, we have estimates of how many times they're driving by versus how many times you would use FlyBy. And so there's some basic estimations in there that are different for every property manager. We go through that conversationally, fill in the values, and then give them real examples of clients that we've worked with about this. So about a client that has about 200 properties, they're saving almost 10 grand a year, $8,000 a year, which is about 10 working days of driving around to all their properties multiple times per year. I think this client was about 2 times per year. And then a client that has about 1,000 properties, their savings were coming out at about $54,000. They were a perfect example. They had no idea how much money they were spending doing drive-bys. And that turns out to be a lot of working days of labor, especially with the inefficiencies that come about when you're doing this all day or very long times. There's the breaks and the refueling and all that kind of stuff that goes with it that all adds up into the costs.
Absolutely. And I think the other piece that I found really fascinating was based on experience, you're driving by, but a lot of times it's you either drive by and capture a photo, or you can find a spot on the street to pull over and maybe snap a photo, right? You're like, oh, are those blinds in the front window all torn up? Maybe they have a dog. I don't know. But you can't see the backyard, right? Most states require you to give proper notice to a resident, which is very fair. Nobody should just have some rando person traipsing through their backyard without that notice. You can't just go open up their gate and peek in the backyard. So tell me a little bit more about what somebody would see if they use your product versus just a normal drive-by.
Absolutely. So let me jump over to this slide. And we haven't really talked about what it is. I like to describe FlyBy by what it's not. We are not a drone service. We don't drive to the house, launch a drone and fly it around. Through my history, I've worked with many great companies in the geospatial industry, and many of them are satellites, many of them are drones, but we don't work with them from a FlyBy perspective. We're working with operators that collect imagery using airplanes that fly thousands of feet in the air. So they go by silently. The imagery is collected every year, multiple times, by each of the vendors or each of the partners. And it's used for many purposes: agricultural monitoring and planning, civil planning of freeways and buildings. What we've done is we've tapped into that so we can make it available for the property management clients. This imagery is being collected anyway. So when a client logs in, you can see for this property, there's a deep stack of dates of imagery on the screen, all the way from April of this year at the top down to April of 2027 at the bottom. Some of our clients like to go in and look at old imagery If they're taking a new property on, they want to see what it looked like last year or the year before. They might want to look back and see what was going on at the property. Some clients just want to start monitoring new imagery as it arrives. One of the key things that we do is that when the property managers put their list of addresses in, we can show them to you on a map, and it helps you understand where you have clients and where you don't, which can be good for marketing and whatnot. Key is that we send email alerts every time we get new imagery for our property managers on a case-by-case basis. We will email them an automated alert and say, hey, there's new imagery for your properties. You can log in. And when they log in, that imagery is brand new. So they can use that as a tip to go in and look at the properties they might want to. On the left side of the imagery here, we have a reports mechanism that you can type notes, either from what you're seeing in the imagery. To get to your question, this image is a good example. It's not just a top-down image. Frequently, we have all four sides of the house. So you can see key things like the quality of the landscaping. Has the tenant turned off the water, especially in California and places in San Diego? The water is very expensive. The damage can be extensive to the landscaping if that's not taken care of quickly. Pet damage or rodent damage in the backyard. This property, our property, we've got rodent damage in the backyard due to gophers coming off the golf course. We use it to monitor that and make sure the landscapers are doing their job, or our property manager does. The bushes, the trimming, all those kinds of things. So you can really see high detail. And in the worst case scenario, you can see things like graffiti or trash stacking up next to the house. Behind, when you're driving by and you park out front, you see the front, but you don't see behind the fence. There could be mattresses or garbage or
outbuildings
construction. So it helps you monitor for that and create a digital recording of what you're seeing. We save those with the images, so you have a permanent record of what was going on at each point in time.
I do want to remind everyone, if you have questions, if you're live on this event and you have questions, pop them into the chat. I do take a look at the chat while we're going. But I'm curious, what's maybe the craziest thing a property manager's ever seen?
We've heard stories about houses turned into illicit drug production facilities. We've seen garbage piles stacking up outside of houses. We've seen mansions that aren't occupied become completely smashed windows, squatters living in them, tagged with all sorts of graffiti that may or may not be visible from the street, especially if the property's fairly large. So yeah, I know the reality is wilder than the imagination in many of the cases.
And anyone that's been in property management for a while, they have usually some unhinged stories. In fact, I think I posted a reel this week of, tell me your most unhinged story. A woman posted this morning that she had a tenant just move out who had goats, several large goats, and that she let them live in the house, but then she also built a non-permitted building in the back that had air conditioning for the goats. So like,
Wow.
if she or her property manager had been using this, maybe they would have.
Goats and chickens. Chickens are very frequent, like the out chicken houses, because people like fresh eggs and the price of eggs are through the roof. So yeah, all sorts of stuff like that. And lots of subletting, noticing that there's always lots of cars at a property, or so then you've got lots of people living in the house.
Maybe even some short-term rental. People are renting out bedrooms on Airbnb. There are crazy things that happen, but definitely having that aerial view and the multiple views of the aerial would be really helpful. So yeah, it's just a really cool product. As far as who can view, is it in a portal? Does it get synced up with their property management platform? Does the owner automatically get access?
In a nutshell, right now, the property manager has access to it. There's nothing that would stop a property owner from also signing up if they wanted to. In fact, we do have some clients that are property owners that don't rent out like vacation properties, but they in other states, and they just want to use it to monitor what's going on at their vacation properties. It's primarily for the property managers. We have a referral system so that if the property managers want to use our referral system, we notify their owners with their emails that are in the system. The property managers can earn free imagery through the system to be able to reduce their subscription or do more with their current subscription. We're not hooked up to the property management systems yet, but lots of them have required numbers of subscriptions or a fee to do that. So right now, the way we engage with property managers is we allow them to export an Excel file or a CSV, comma separated value file, easy import into that and update through that. And then all of their addresses are in there and the imagery, and they can look at the imagery.
It doesn't matter if they have one property or 10,000 properties. Any property manager can use the system.
It's an online portal. So you just subscribe. The way we like to talk about it is, what's the book platform that you, Audible, right? You have an Audible subscription. It's like a FlyBy subscription. It comes with a certain amount of credits for opening books. Ours comes with a certain amount of credits for opening imagery. And that gives our clients the flexibility to choose, do they want just the new stuff or to go back and look at old stuff? And are some properties more maybe problematic, so they want to spend more credits on those properties and less on others that seem to be steady state and not a problem? So a lot of our clients use it as a triage-based system. Instead of driving around to every property, they'll use it to look at the properties and decides which ones they need to visit and in which order. That really helps them prioritize and save time instead of the old way of driving around to everything, regardless of which ones are problematic.
Yeah, super efficient. It looks like we had a question pop up. So Sam missed it. If it's drone or how does it work again? Go ahead and hit on that again, because I think it is really fascinating. I had never even heard of however you describe it.
No worries.
We're real estate. I don't know.
The short answer is it's not drones and it's not satellite. It's imagery collected from airplanes. In a geeky way, we talk about an overhead architecture in the geospatial industry, from tiny drones that people can launch that fly 100 or so feet. And then there's bigger drones that go higher and higher. Then there's airplanes. There's even drones higher than that. But then you get to low Earth orbit where the satellites are doing satellite imaging. The aircraft that collect this imagery generally fly at thousands of feet. Might be 3,000 feet, might be 10,000 feet. Depends on the camera platform and how much they're trying to collect. The higher resolutions fly a little slower and maybe a little lower towards the 3,000 foot range. And that gives us that sweet spot of really good resolution to be able to see details on a house and a property without too much detail, like a drone collecting video so high resolution that you can do facial recognition and license plate detection, recognition. That's where the privacy concerns start coming in from the drones, not to mention the annoyance of the noise. We are familiar, some of the insurance companies, especially in California and the western states, flying drones over neighborhoods, and there's been lots of complaints about that. So FlyBy is a way to have imagery of your properties without any of those privacy or noise constraints, while still getting much better resolution than you get from the satellites.
Now, who is flying the plane? I'm assuming it's not you. Is it? I don't know. Maybe you're also a pilot.
I've always wanted to get my pilot's license, although I have jumped out of an airplane, which was awesome.
Oh.
We have a partner network of companies that are professional aerial operators. They have their own fleets of aircraft. Some of them rent aircraft or sensors when needed, but they've got pilots on call. We have imagery in FlyBy from our partner network all over the country. Our imagery is in 49 out of 50 states. Sorry, Alaska. There's just too much clouds up there and not enough business case for our collectors to collect imagery. But we've got imagery in the other 49 states and over what's approximated to be about 99.6%, so almost 100% of US population. Okay. Wow. Now it's not all collected at the same frequency. Our urban and suburban areas are collected at higher revisit rates. So we get more imagery in densely populated areas, but we still have imagery collected probably once a year at least over rural areas. And so, no, it's not us flying the airplanes. It's a partner network that does that for us.
One of the coolest things they do is fly during major disasters. We get exquisite disaster imagery when there's a big hurricane or fires like the California fires last year. Property managers can see what's happening at their clients' homes.
One of the messages we're bringing to Florida NARPM next week is that this imagery is so valuable for a property manager to be able to give their owners peace of mind if their property hasn't been affected, or to be able to get started taking action through insurance and whatnot before they're even, a lot of times in some of these major storms, obviously people are self-evacuating or they're actually mandatorily evacuated. We saw in the Los Angeles fire, people were mandatorily evacuated, and our image collector partners were flying every day during the fire. We would get new imagery every day over the area. People who were living in hotels or with relatives temporarily were able to log in and see if their houses were affected. So it's a really powerful application of FlyBy.
That would be wonderful for all the areas that have hurricanes, tornadoes,
Fires.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I guess Washington State, we only have like maybe some earthquakes. Oh, we have volcanoes too.
That
So,
is true.
Hey, volcano and lava flows, that would apply as well.
yeah, I guess maybe Hawaii. You get
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
You know, when the Maui fires happened, we had
Right.
imagery every day over the Maui fires as well, and the before and after. And again, that imagery is being collected for government and insurance purposes anyway. So it's like, why not tap into it from a property management perspective to take advantage of it?
Speaking of next week, Florida, I'm going to be in Florida as well, doing a breakout session talking about experiences, resident and client experiences. Sounds like we'll be in the vendor area.
Yes.
Yep.
Looking forward to some sun, fun, and meeting with some great Florida property managers.
The week
Yes,
after that, we're going to Texas. And the week after that, we're going to Sacramento. These are all NARPA meetings. And then we'll be at National back in Orlando and Florida in October.
That's exciting. Very cool. Is there anything else that you can share that would be helpful for property managers, or if there's anybody else online currently watching this live, has any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
I would highlight one or two more things. Interestingly, when we started FlyBy, we thought it was all about saving operational time and money. Since then, we've heard from several property managers that they are using or want to use imagery in their proposals to new clients to help differentiate themselves and win new business, or to generate annual reports to help retain existing clients. The marketing aspects of FlyBy have become more and more aware to us. That's one of the things I would point out. The other thing I would point out, as we're talking with a lot of property managers, and these property managers fit into many different categories, right? So we've got clients who don't do drive-bys at all, some that do heavy drive-bys, some that have a hybrid model, some that do it on their way home from work, and then these regional ones that are really far away, right? A lot, and I don't know, in your podcast and in your experience in consulting, we see the use of virtual assistants overseas. I don't know if that's gaining speed or not, but we see many property managers using those. And interestingly, where a virtual assistant can't help you do a drive-by at all, they can help you do flybys and take notes and tell you which properties they see. The potential cost savings get even more dramatically increased if the client is using virtual assistants and they're having them help them through kind of a scheduled workflow through some of the management systems that can help do that. Those are a couple of the key takeaways, I think, that really can be valuable to property managers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, when I actually started my business, my first employee back in 2016, 17 was a VA out of Mexico. So when I sold my company, I actually had more global team members than I did Washington State. So I'm a huge proponent of hiring globally. You can source global talent and get the best of the best. Have any of your clients started to use a little bit of AI with this? Like inputting things into AI and creating different schedules, maybe being able to read the different photos, spit out different reports?
So we're working on that natively ourselves as well. We're an AI forward company. We use a lot of AI technologies in the development of FlyBy. And what we're doing now is releasing those to our clients, either through chat prompts, like what do you see going on in this image? What's the difference between this property this time versus last time? Having been in this industry, geoimagery, a lot of people don't want to look at the imagery. The next level of this tool is being able to send them alerts about the kinds of things we're automatically detecting. Now that comes with some risk and reward, right? You can save time, but the AI might not be as good as you, the property manager who knows this property and has been looking at it, or your VA that's been doing this repeatedly. It's a crawl, walk, run on rolling out the technology. We're always open to those suggestions. So we're incredibly leaning forward to our clients to always be asking them, what do you like about the system? What would you like to see in the system? What don't you like about the system that we can potentially take button clicks out to make it even faster or smoother or automate certain things?
Yeah, I love that. I think using AI as a tool, adjacent teammate, as I like to call it, being able to put a VA in charge of that and even manage that AI teammate would save a company probably thousands of dollars a year.
Absolutely. So if you want to generate one of these reports, it's pretty easy to do in the system. But first, you've got to write the text. One of the key places where we can plug in AI is maybe it's not actually doing the imagery analysis yet, because that's a very hard thing to do. But if you just type in your rough notes and then have the AI clean up the report for you, put it in the template, make it a nice format, you can export a nice annual report for your clients that's client ready. You could just mail that to them or put that in their folder or their portal for them to download.
Very cool. I love it. Before we go, is there anything else you want to add? I haven't seen any new questions pop up.
I think that's about it. We look forward to seeing you in Florida next week.
Yeah, next week. I know. I got to pack. Tell us where we can find you in person the next few weeks and online.
Next week is Florida. The week after is Texas.
Yep, we'll be in Austin.
The week after that, we'll be in Northern California at the Sacramento
Expo.
There's a couple weeks off, and then we'll be at NARPM National in Orlando. Awesome. Our company name is GeoNeo. We've been around since 2019, doing custom developed geospatial software applications for clients, both commercial and in the government. FlyBy is the first product we've built for ourselves. We mentioned how it kind of came about fortuitously, but it's been fun to build and launch and interact with all the property managers. Please reach out to us there or in person at one of the events. We'd love to meet you, work through the calculator with you, see if FlyBy would be valuable to your use case and your business, whether you use VAs or not. Please come see us or reach out.
Thank you so much for joining. I love all the information. Can't wait to see you in person again. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us today. Stacey Salyer, Property Management Strategist, future-proofing your property management company and making your business peaceful and profitable. See you again soon and have a wonderful day.